Imagine waking up from a nightmare where you were isolated, caged, and manipulated every single day of your life. You would probably wake up and be mortified. Well, for over 100 million animals in our world today, our nightmare is their reality through ruthless animal experimentation. Animal testing may be something you've never heard of, or if you have, it might not have made much of an impact in your daily life. However, over the years, animal experimentation has had indications of not only being unethical, but has provided very harmful downfalls for both animals and humans in more ways than one. Cruelty-free international states, an animal test is any scientific experiment in which a live animal is forced to undergo something that is likely to cause them pain, suffering, distress, and lasting harm. Having owned many animals and having done plenty of research on this topic, I hope to give others an opportunity to better understand animal testing and why it is such a harmful practice. Animal testing may be something scientists look at as our best option, but there are various alternatives that can and should be used in place of this brutal practice. Today, I will discuss the harmful effects of animals in the lab, why humans aren't exactly benefiting from this practice, and what alternatives can be used to gradually stop this reign of torture on innocent animals. Most companies claim that their testing doesn't cause harm to animals, but this is not the case. They are tortured and abused, oftentimes to the point of death. According to PETA, animals are used not only for biological testing, but other things like medical training, curiosity-driven experimentation, and chemical, drug, food, and cosmetic testing. Experiments like this cause animals unnecessary pain that can be avoided in many ways. National Anti-Vivisection Society informs us that in 2015, 95% of the animals used in labs were mice, rats, birds, and fish. However, that doesn't hide the fact that a whopping 767,622 documented animals were shown to be experimented on in this year alone. Now that you know the types of species involved in these experiments, learning about the processes themselves can give people insight on how these animals were treated on a daily basis. PETA states that before their imminent deaths, some animals are forced to inhale toxic fumes, immobilized in restraint devices for hours, have holes drilled into their skulls, and have their skin burned off or their spinal cords crushed. I have a visual of the Dre's eye test, which is one of the tests that scientists do to rabbits. And what they do is they put a needle in their eye, and they see whether the medication affects them or not. And here's a picture of what a rabbit would look like. The Dre's eye test and the acute toxicity test, they both cause harmful effects like bleeding, blindness, skin irritation, and even death. The list of experiments and tests done on animals are endless, and those are just a few of them. Sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't even come up with conclusive data. However, brutal pain inflicted in various ways is a consistent factor and should be stopped. Along with the torment they face, these animals are deprived of aspects of life such as living in groups. Instead, they are isolated in small cages and lose almost all of their psychological capacity. These traumatizing events lead to animals becoming nothing but disposable lab equipment. There is a traditional assumption that animals are used for experiments because they respond the same way humans do when they are exposed to certain products. AAVS states that truthfully, animals are used to assess the safety of numerous products. What a lot of people don't know is that due to the various reactions among species, it makes it hard to compare how humans react to these products. A great majority of tests have differences with human reactions, so a lot of the time they may not even be accurate. Animals are biologically different than humans in many ways. This shows that animal-based testing methods fail legitimate human needs. There are also dangerous limitations that come with animal testing. The US FDA states, currently 9 out of 10 experimental drugs fail in clinical studies because we cannot accurately predict how they will behave in people based on lab and animal studies. According to New England Anti-Vivisection Society, for example, aspirin is poisonous to cats, and the recalled diet drug fen-phen caused no heart damage to animals while it did in humans. The biological makeup of animals and humans is a huge reason that animal testing may just be wasted time for animal researchers and a reason why humans don't benefit. Animal testing also takes an economic toll on the public. Whether they know it or not, American taxpayers are the main funders of animal testing, and it's nearly impossible for the public to gain information about their tax dollars funding American testing. Also, the money put in isn't worth it for how long it takes to get results from the lab, which can last up to 5 years. All of these downfalls contribute to our society as a whole and makes a difference in the public, whether we know it or not. Finally, I will talk about alternatives and steps that can be taken to stop animal testing altogether. There are many non-animal testing methods that can be used in place of animal testing. These alternatives prove to be more humane, as well as being cheaper, faster, and more relevant to humans. Some alternatives to the use of animals in testing include in vitro test tube methods and models based on human cell and tissue cultures. These tests are just some of the tests that scientists and animal activists are working towards for animal cruelty to slowly come to an end. As well as working more efficiently, these non-animal tests are more cost-effective, practical, and expedient. While alternatives such as these may take time to be put into place, we can take steps to stop animal testing day by day. A major step we can take to stop testing is not purchasing products tested on animals or begin donating to cruelty-free organizations. We can also advertise our research to people we know to stop the endorsement of animal experimentation. One of the products that doesn't use animal experimentation is by Barbasol, and this is Pure Silk Shaving Cream. You can see that on the back it says, "We do not test on animals," and that is something we should all be looking for when we are using products such as this. In conclusion, today I discussed the harmful effects of animals in the lab, why humans aren't exactly benefiting from this practice, and what alternatives and steps can be taken to gradually stop this reign of torture to innocent animals. With these concepts in mind, I hope you take them the initiative and widen your horizons on such issues, because somewhere out there, our worst nightmare is another animal's reality. Hopefully, with our help, one day animal testing will be a thing of the past. Imagine how you would feel if your animal was used for testing. Are you going to make a change?